all, and welcome to Stingray Tom's Florida and day 24 of the Florida Adventure Series. Let's see what the object for today is. I think I saved the best for last. This is a small bud vase from Merritt Island Pottery. While it's stoneware, it's still delicate. It's a wonderful example of the artist's life work. Made by Melvin Casper, the co-founder and owner of Merritt Island Pottery, this vase is typical of some of his work. It has a glossy dark brown glaze that doesn't quite fully cover the surface. That's not uncommon in pieces made by Mel. I have several of his creations, which I'll show here. I bought them all at Merritt Island Pottery in the 80s and 90s. I was lucky enough to have a few conversations with Mel over the years. He let me take a few photos, but sadly they were done on an early digital camera and aren't the best quality. Mel was born in 1916 in Chicago, Illinois. He studied drawing, painting, and ceramics at the School of the Art Institute of Chicago. After graduation, he and his stepmother, Peg Jameson, who was an artist as well, headed to Florida to live with his uncle, an ornithologist. At the time, Merritt Island, which by the way is actually a peninsula, was nearly uninhabited and as much a jungle as any place in Florida. Mel would say there were lots of birds here, thousands of mosquitoes, and only 9 people. They built a small house from pine trees in a 25-acre orange grove. Mel started out to be a commercial artist, but it was obvious that wouldn't work in the wilds of Florida. So in 1937, he and Peg opened Merritt Island Pottery. Mel insisted that they were the first potters in Florida. Pottery is a practical art, one that locals needed for the kitchen and dining room, but working with clay wasn't easy on Merritt Island. First of all, they didn't have electricity for a number of years, and they fired their pottery in kerosene-heated kilns. Locals would arrive in boats to buy their results since there was barely a road that people could use. During World War II, Mel enlisted in the Army and was sent to India and China, serving under General Joseph Stilwell, the controversial Chief of Staff to Chiang Kai-shek, the eventual leader of the Republic of China. By the way, Stilwell was born in Palatka. It was in Asia that Casper gained artistic inspiration that later would be reflected in his work, such as the simple forms, glaze types, and Chinese characters with which he decorates some of his work. The pottery was particularly known for these glazes. He said that many of them were a mixture of up to 10 elements to create the looks he wanted. He experimented all the time and he kept his recipes a secret. He'd say that he gained most of his expertise through decades of trial and error. For many years, due to their success, Mel and Peg would spend weeks each year traveling around Europe until Peg's death in 1981. Not bad considering that the bulk of their pottery sold for only a few dollars apiece. Ask any successful potter and they'll probably admit that making the same plates, bowls, and mugs can be tedious, since everything needs to be identical in size and shape. When asked about this, Mel would answer, "If I can go to Europe for 6 weeks every year, I can also make a lot of mugs." So as you can see from what I have, he made a number of other pieces. Other things he made were coasters, including Christmas ones, wind chimes, and ornaments. Mel also created some remarkable sculptures, some of which you can see here. He didn't say much to me about these female torsos, but I got the feeling that sculpting figures like this was a good anecdote for the repetitive nature of most of his work. They were hand sculpted, not turned on a pottery wheel. Beyond chatting with Mel and seeing his life's work, one of the times I visited, I was able to buy one of the female torsos. This is it here. When I asked if I could buy it, Mel seemed as if he was reluctant to part with it, though it was probably because he was emotionally attached to the sculptures. The torso has some texture, like a lot of Mel's work, and it has a bit of rough, unfinished look to it. Under bright light, it has a mottled surface with a color similar to finished mahogany wood. It's 15 inches tall and is rather heavy, even though it's hollow. It's signed but undated. I bought it in 1991, and I'm still thrilled to have given it a home. Mel died in 2002 at 86 years old. For 65 years, he lived in Merritt Island and operated a successful pottery business that sold to customers all over the world and was a place that locals and visitors alike could visit and see some of the best ceramics made in Florida. Thanks for watching. Sadly, this is the final episode of Florida's Adventure Series 2023. Please watch the rest if you haven't already. I'm happy I got to share some of the items in the archive that wouldn't normally appear in a video and tell you some interesting aspects to what they represent.